Okay, folks, I have to apologize.
Hey, what's going on, ladies and gamers? Name is Easy the Gamer. Welcome back to the D6 video. So today you are honored and welcome to the Hero. I was gonna say Monster. Damn, already about to mess up. Hero Oscars. Yes, yeah. Give it a round of applause to the people who made it on the list. Okay. So first things first. Okay. Let me mention. Again, this video does not mean that other heroes are trash, okay? If they didn't make the list, that means that they're sort of neutral. They're not crazy. They're just out there, I guess. I didn't want to put too many on the list, so I didn't want to basically make the list too long to the point where it's like it's a way too long of a video. I just wanted to. I basically thought about it yesterday. I mentioned it with Ingrid, which, by the way, I'm not mentioning any of the new heroes, including Cesar, including Ingrid. I don't even think. Okay, only one of the mosques actually made it onto the list, so we're not counting those. Okay. So what is going on? We are making categories today for Nat 5's. Okay, I've seen a lot of Nat 4's categories and stuff, and I think even Nat 3's through Neon Nessie, of course, but. The biggest deal, the big sparks, the golden sparks that everybody looks for. I don't think I've seen many tier lists or seen what people actually use them for, what category. So I have a list here. I'm going to go over it. If you do agree or disagree, let me know in the comments. Don't go crazy. You know, I'm not saying these heroes are trash. It's more of I guess trying to see what are what categories they fit in, just in case some people don't know about them or stuff like that. Today's format is going to be a little bit different as well. I'm going to have the background pre-recorded. It's going to be very weird. I'm gonna try it, see how it works out. Let me know what y'all think as well. So let's get on with the first list. Okay, first list, of course, is the OP level, basically being able to hold their own. Who do you think is first on the list? I'll give y'all a quick minute to guess. You don't even need a minute. You already know who I'm gonna say. Scissors Elk. Okay. Funny enough, I almost forgot to put her on the list. I was like, oh yeah, rock, I was looking at all these rock, whatever, and I didn't. I completely forgot to put the most overpowered one that can be used practically anywhere in the game. Okay, so these basically the OP leveled ones basically are the ones that you can practically put in every category in this list. Okay, so Scissors Elk, no need introduction for her really. She controls, she debuffs, she cleanses, she heals. She has a good leader skill. She's an overall crazy unit. You can build her multiple ways: vitality, concentration. Of course, don't go. What is it? The attack one. I can't even think about it right now. So it's like she's one of the really good better units. So if you do have her. Good for you. I think we can agree. Number one here. So let me get this off straight as well. I forgot to mention in the beginning of the video. These are in different, random order. They're not in order of oh, this is the best, whatever. Because I feel like it depends on perspective. Of course, I would have been like Rock Benito, you know, because I love Rock Benito. But obviously, Scissors Elk reigns here, reigns everywhere. That's why I wanted to make this list, this category here, because I was like, if I put Scissors Elk everywhere, what's the point, you know? So I put her here. Of course, following, guess who's next? Rock Benito, of course. Rock Benito, he's a crazy damage dealer. He does a lot of damage per second because of his second skill. If you do have him, I don't think you should worry so much about the first skill. Worry more about the second skill. That second skill is the one where it carries you. Once it's completely skilled up, you'll understand what I mean. To me personally, when I got him, I was like, I don't see I was obviously hyped for him. You saw the videos, you saw everything. When I was trying to get him, it was completely practically impossible for me to get. And when I got him, I looked at him and I was like, I don't know. He's not doing as much damage. He didn't even have that bad crests or orbs or anything like that. But the fact is that he needed those skill ups, and once he hits max skill, you will start to see he tears stuff up real quick. Like it just keeps going. Like some healers can't keep up with his damage, which is practically insane. He's just really good for that. You know, he's not as good in the striker position like Scissors Elk would be. He's more of unless you're using him in strike in special arena. Which, by the way, why are you doing that? Use him in the regular, But he does his job. That's the point. Okay. Next on the list, like I said, these are in different orders. They're not order of place: first place, second place, third place. Of course, I think we all agree that Scissors Oak is pretty much first place. Okay, she's crazy. Okay, so Rock June is the next one. Of course, he did get nerfed. He was way more overpowered. He was at the level as Scissors Oak, I believe, before the nerf. Of course, now he's a little bit less overpowered, but to me personally, I still think he's really good. He does a big chunk of damage, especially in bosses like PvE content, like in Giants. People have told me to use them in Giants or whatever. Of course, he does a big chunk of damage. He's a bruiser. He does cooldown. He does practically anything you need him to do, right, besides heal, right? That's the best part about him. He's just an all-around good unit. He helps you progress through the game. Luckily for me personally, he was one of my first nat 5's that I got, so that's why he's up there in the list as well. He like everybody can vote that he's really good. He's a really good unit. Okay, next one on the list is Scissors Carletta. Okay, so some people would think, nah, she's not really broken, but to me personally, I feel like she's really up there. She can hold her own. I feel like this list is broken into two, like OP and people who can hold their own. Scissors Carletta basically makes it possible where if you don't have your skill your unit skilled up, all you need to do is skill her first skill up and you're basically set, because she'll just keep she will have everybody's skills up and running, whatever. Of course, it doesn't affect her actual time skill, but it will help everybody else's skill, which really does help in PvE, PvP, name it. She can probably be used there. And on top of that, she does have a heal. I'll try to mention both skills if they're I think I'd even mention Benito's second skill, or first skill, I mean. But what's it called? Scissors Carletta, she has a cleanse and a heal. Everybody overlooks that cleanse, even though it's just a 2 debuff cleanse. That can initially really help you when it comes to that. So I think she's really good, solid unit. Which, by the way, I do have a category going later on, in case you're wondering, like, where's my hero? Where's my hero, right? So okay, so honorable mentions. Honorable mentions is Paper Fran. She is not crazy overpowered. Like, some people think she's good early game, mid game, whatever. I still think she's really good because of her damage reduction buff and damage. She does that damage buff as well. Plus, she just does a big chunk of damage. She's like the paper version of Rocky Nuke, which is why she's an honorable mention. She didn't make it on the list, but she's in a different category. Which, by the way, some heroes are in more than one category. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get on. So that is it for the I should have done the honorable mentions first, right? Okay, so I think that's the only one that does an honorable mention. So next one on the list will be the gets replaced type of hero. Okay, so like I said, these heroes are not trash, but eventually they get replaced later on to either do faster runs, to either like, I think that's just it, to make faster, to be faster in arena, in what's it called, in PvE content, stuff like that. It basically gets replaced to make the runs faster. Okay, so the first one on the list for me would be Paper Yona. Paper Yona is such a good healer.
Okay, folks, I have to apologize.
She's an amazing healer, arguably one of the best healers in the game, arguably the best healer in the game. I think she debuffs. She takes all debuffs removed, defense buff. 2 heals. 1 heal gives you a HP shield, which is insane. If used when you have your if she heals over your limit, she makes a shield, which is really good. Okay, so I think she's an overall solid unit. Like I said, she is not horrible, but later on in the game she does get replaced because later on you want to do faster runs. You want to do like in PvE, healers are usually, if you use a healer, that healer has to attack as well, which is why I use Scissors Elk in PvE content, because she controls and she does that. She heals as well and cleanses. So Yona, really good, but gets replaced along the lines. I think, like I said, if you disagree, let me know in the comments. What do y'all think? Okay, Scissors Nuke. Personally, when I first started, Scissors Nuke was the one to get. Okay, everybody's like, oh, if you need a healer, get Scissors Nuke. He has that life steal, which if there's a lot of people gathered, you just go from 0 to 100. You know, which is really good, you know, and on top of that, he has that leader skill, damage reduction, and heal recovery for, I used him a lot before, even before people were using him for his leader skill for his leader skill with Scissors Oak. I was actually using him in Arena as a striker, not because of his leader skill, but because of his actual skill. You know, right? That's weird. Why would people use it for his skill? Right now, he does recovery debuff, which helps a lot when it comes to healer teams, you know. But now I don't use him as much because I feel like a lot of people use him in striker position. Not that he's bad at striker position, he's really good. But I feel like everybody uses him, so I don't need to use him. I think everybody else gets a point across from that. Okay, so next, Scissors Natalia. Scissors Natalia, when like same time around Scissors Nuke, I saw. She did insane damage. She has 2 life steals. Her second skill is the one to look at. It's the big shiny thing. It's a knight in shining armor that freaking kills everybody. Okay, that's basically it. You know, big axe, big heal, big damage. You know, so she was really used a lot in early game. You know, and of course, like I said, she actually can be used because she more than Yona, in my opinion. Maybe because she does damage. Of course, I did try her a lot of times before, but it became unreliable, so that's why I don't use her as much anymore. But she is one of the ones that does get replaced along the lines. She does have a really good. She has a really good skill sets. Do not get me wrong. When she's a striker, unbelievable damage. You know, so it just comes down to how much can you push that unit to do, right? So if it becomes very unreliable, it eventually does get replaced, especially like late game and all of that stuff. Okay, so next one is Paper June. Paper June is actually one of the ones I did get earlier along the lines, but never actually built him because I didn't see much about him. He does have a shield, you know. I think it's just a status shield or something like that. He does have a shield and he does have a launch. Do not get me wrong, he is not horrible, but I feel like there are other heroes that do this, has a shield, has a break skill, and does more than he does. So of course, what's it called? I saw him, like I said, I saw him use early game a lot, and I was like, oh man, it seems really useful. But I feel like because I had Yona, I didn't really need him. I was like, okay, you know what? I have Yona, I have that shield. I don't need his shield, and she heals, cleanses, and heals again, and defense buff. She was just insane. So I was like, I don't really need June. Of course, like I said, if y'all did or even do now, you let me know. Let me know how you use them. Maybe I'm just completely wrong making these lists. Okay, so that is it for that one. Okay, next one will be striker positions. Best NAF. These are strictly NAF 5's. I don't know if I mentioned that. NAF 5's, damn it! I don't even know if I mentioned that. Oh my goodness! I'm gonna put that as an edit. I don't even know if I mentioned that. Okay, so this is just strictly. All of these categories are strictly for NAF 5's. I don't know if I even mentioned it. Okay, so Rock Arcana. You can even see in the gameplay that I'm doing now. Somebody had actually corrected me. I was actually using Yona as a striker before because she was being more consistent because of her heal. And plus she gave a shield. But what became more consistent with Rock Arcana is her shield lasts for 15 seconds and you don't get debuffs. This stage itself in Jin becomes a bit it doesn't become that word. I'm not gonna say that word. It becomes a bit difficult when it comes to it eventually causes failure in a team. So having her as a striker really basically helps you not get debuffed, not like you lose less, I believe. So thank you to that commenter who did let me know. It's like, hey, why don't you try Rock Arcana? I didn't use her because I was like, I had her at level 1, and I was like, I don't see the use in her. And man, I got proved wrong. Crit rate plus the the HP recovered as well. She's a good striker. Okay, now if we even talked about it earlier. We talked about him earlier. Scissors Januke. Everybody knows about him because since paired with Scissors Elk, they both practically get it to the point where you don't take damage at all. So it's good to make it a more consistent run when you're like a Nightmare or something like that. You're only taking 1 damage, whatever. That's nothing wrong with that. That's what Scissors Januke is there as a striker. Later on, like in the beginning of the game, use him as a healer. I used him as a healer, and then late game, use him more as a striker. Okay. Next one is Scissors Natalia. I even mentioned her as well. Like I said, they're gonna some of them are going to be in multiple lists. So Scissors Natalia, you already know why. Her striker skill does insane damage. I've seen it do like 60,000 damage, I think, and you heal for like freaking everything, So you go to 0 to 100 with her as a striker skill, which makes it insane. So, if you do have her, you can use her in your team as well. Don't get me wrong. Use her in your striker as well, because that's where she just chunks a big chunk of heal. And of course, gonna bring up Scissors Elk here as well. Even though like I mentioned before, I was just gonna put her in the OP section. I put her here specifically because not only I guess to explain why. Because not only she gives the damage reduction later skill, she does control, as well. So it's like if you're in a tight spot in arena and whatever, and she gets her strike skill, guess what? You're on that 1 HP, and because of that control, whatever damage, you get to use your heal, whatever, and then you're back in the game, right? So that's why I mentioned her again. I didn't want to what's it called? I didn't want to put her in here, but I feel like it'd be better to put her in. An honorable mention for this one would be Scissors Gunter. Of course, he is not the best. Like he does do his cooldown reduction, for his strike and all that stuff. But to me personally, I feel like I use him because I've explained it before too, where his leader skill does Scissors Disable for 20% more, which pairs up really well with Scissors Elk. Personally, I use him. That's why he's an honorable mention. He didn't make the list. Like I said, maybe you disagree with that. He's not all around good. If you use him in PvE, but at the same time, if you have Scissors Elk, having him in the striker position isn't as bad, but there's better stuff out there. So he's just an honorable mention. Okay. All right, so next up on the list is overlooked nat 5s that have potential. Okay, so these I found very interesting, and there's a lot of them. This one actually has 8 in the list. Okay, so basically what happens is a lot of these have a sister or a brother that just overshadows them, and nobody blinks an eye. Nobody looks at them. They're not bad, but they're just not mentioned, which is why I really want to mention these. I was talking to the Grand Tour 888, the one that I did the summons for. I was talking to him earlier, and he basically said he was like, "Whoa, that hero does that. Whoa, that hero does that." It's like, yes, and this is why I want to make this category, because a lot of people don't know this. So let's talk about Rockadonis, okay? Of course, late game players, I think they do know him. He does a whole bunch of buffs, practically. Defense buff, attack buff, speed buff. And he does damage as well. He's a really good overall unit. Of course, can be a little tweaked maybe, but he overall, maybe give him a heal or something like that. That'd be really cool. But he's overlooked. I think he does have potential. Of course, there are better things. People think there are better things out there. But I feel like he's one of the stronger ones. He can, like, I 6-starred him, haven't used him yet. I could probably do a spotlight on him later on or something like that. Okay, next one, Rock Fran. Not because she was my first nat 5, but specifically because everybody looks at Paper Fran, okay? Rock Fran, she has a defense break, which everybody's like, like, I feel like defense break isn't as admired here as it is like in Summoner's War, but she does give a defense break. She does stun, and knock down. She knocks down strips shield, you know, and all in one skill, you know. So it's really cool. I really do like it. So it really combines really well with, let's say, she stuns and then defense breaks, and then let's say Rock Benito just goes home with that, you know, which is really good. I think that'd be a really good idea to use. She's very nobody looks at her because of that, you know. So we'll go ahead and move the list on. We're actually taking a long time. So Rock Shaolin, she was actually one of my few earlier Nat 5's as well. I didn't use her because I didn't understand what to use her. I was like, man, Scissors is the one to get. She's the one that everybody's talking about. She strips. This was when Adonis was a meta, you know. He still is the meta, but not as much. So she does damage I think she does damage reflect shield. She buff duration and cleanses, which is insane for one skill, you know. And then the other one blinds and silences the opponents, and it's a multi hit, so it will just continue hitting. So if it doesn't hit once, it doesn't land once, it will just continue landing. Status activation will obviously be really well with her. I'm not giving many orb suggestions or anything like that because obviously it's already taken too long, you know. But I think people have already brought it up. I'm just basically putting them in categories. So yeah, so she's really good or she sounds, on paper she sounds really good, you know. Have her with I think I saw a team or something like that with Paper Cur, Rock Shaolin, and something else. I can't remember at the moment. And it's like it's basically a cancerous team. You basically win, you know, which is really good. I like I said, she people just overlook her, you know, and I think people should start building teams around her, which is really cool. Next one, Rock Carletta. People mention her, but they're just like she's good, but that's it, you know. She's two breaking skills. One of the two monsters that have breaking skills, which is Kerr and her. They both do. And by the way, speaking of talking about Nat 5's, you know, like there are Nat 4's that do that as well. Don't get me wrong. I think I've heard of that. But in this case, in Nat 5's, they're the only two Nat 5's in the game that have two breaking skills, which is insane. She burns, she poisons, you know, and her strike and being in strike goes up to 4 breaking points, which is really insane. So I think she's really underlooked, of course, because I feel like I tried using her for giants for the burn and it wasn't really working well, so people suggest a Rang and stuff like that. That's why she's underlooked, but I feel like she's still in that good position. Next one, Scissors Benito. Screw Scissors Benito because I kept getting him, but he's overlooked, okay, just because of his brother. He does shock, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's a small percentage." But every time I used him, he would always shock and stun because it's a multi-hit. That's one thing I've noticed when it comes down to a hero's skills. Everybody always criticizes it because they just look at the skills and they don't actually look in the skill preview or try it out. You know, so it becomes a problem where they're just like, they suck because it's just that. You know, of course, his second skill can be buffed. He like I said, when it comes to being meta relevant, he should be doing more than one thing. And one of the things that's like that is he only does single target damage with like 800% attack or something like that. It's like, that's it, you know. So maybe add some kind of debuff on there would help him, and he'd be a good unit. Then, like I said, he does have potential. Paper Yona. I do not have this unit, but I looked at her and she looks very interesting. Okay, so she has a special attack. She freezes, and I think she does. I can't remember what her second skill does. Damn it! I'm telling you, I'm trying to do this off the top of my head. But Paper Yona, look, she's very overlooked. I think she worked really good with a lot of heroes actually. So I think she you already know how I feel about special attack type of hero. So once I saw, I was like, oh, I already like her, you know. So Paper Chen. Some people might not agree with me on this. Paper Chen. People think, or I think Falcar even told me, he's like he's more of a buffer, you know. And don't get me wrong, Falcar, don't hate me, okay? I personally think that Paper Chen is insanely good. His AI is a bit smarter than the other ones. If you don't control him by the first few seconds, he's gonna put that shield up and it screws you over completely, especially if you're not paying attention. So like me, sometimes I do that. I just put Scissor Elk's Eclipse, and he has a shield up, and I'm basically destroying myself. So I was like, damn it, you know, and that's how I lose, you know. So I think he's overlooked. He does have a defense buff, heal, reflective shield, speed buff. He has a whole bunch of buffs. So I think him paired with actually that Moss Shia, I think it's a paper one, the paper Moss Shia, she does more damage, I think, according to buffs she has. So she'd be really good paired with him and Rock Adonis. So just a little hint out there. Scissors, oh no, me Scissors Elk, of course, no, Scissors Elk being on the maybe potential, right? No, Paper Elk. I used her in Special Arena, and I was like, whoa, she's very interesting to use. She has Restrained on the first skill, and then she has status activation and status resistance for the other team on her second skill. Really, really good. I feel like that second skill really does help because it helps you land debuffs way faster. You know, unfortunately you can't use her with Scissor Elk because obviously it won't let you do that. So I think with other debuffers and whatnot, I think she'd be really good. So yeah, so I feel like she'd be really good use. Okay, next one. Like I said, these do not suck. They could use a buff though. Okay, I think everybody can agree. Both Tasias. Okay, I have both. They both seem very underwhelming. One does cooldown and shock. Okay, I'm like, cooldown, I can use Rock June for that, right? And shock, okay, yeah, I'll give her that. She has shock, but it's like, that's it, you know? And the other one, it's like, she does dot damage or something like that. And it's just insane. Like she only does big single target nuke, but it's like, at the same time, if you have if you have Paper Fran, Rock June, and those big single target chunky nukers, it's like, why use her, you know? So Rocky Nuke as well. He can use a buff, and I'm like, man, I'm taking so long. Okay, Rocky Nuke, he only has 2 chilled skills. I like, people are like, oh, he's good, but it's like, I think he's situationally good, you know. Like he just has chilled, you know. I feel like maybe add a bleed in there, or add other debuffs, heal, something like that. Add something more, you know, because he does do buff removed as well. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like they can give him a little buff. Okay, Rock Kurt, that dude, he has 2 HP recovered skills. Personally, I think he can be used better. We already have a whole bunch of healers, you know, and healers that do a lot more than just heal, you know. He does have a breaking skill, of course, but I feel like he can use a little bit more, maybe a little tweak. Scissors Arcana, of course, talking about Rock Arcana, she got a buff. Scissors Arcana, maybe give her a little buff on her second skill. She does random targets just like the Maschia, Rock Maschia. She randomly attacks the target, defense ignored, but it isn't as big as a multiplier as a lot of these, so she can use a buff as well. The Grunbergs, I made fun of them before, you know, and I kept getting them. That's why the Grunbergs, they're basically single target nukers. Actually, even the Scissors one isn't a single target nuker. It's up to 62% rating, you know, and he just buffs attack and buffs and does the damage reduction. And then something else, I don't remember. But it's like he doesn't do that much. Both of them don't do as much. The first one does like defense ignored, but I haven't heard much about him. So I think he could use a little buff. Okay, so that's really it. Okay, so you know what? Let me go through these quickly. Okay, so the all around units. Okay, so it's Paper Kerr, Rock Julianne, Paper Adonis, Scissors Carletta, Paper Fran, Scissors. Did I put Scissors Carletta? I put her twice. Great, she's twice as good. Both Gunters and the Rock Max Shia. Of course, I think they're all self-explanatory. Paper Adonis, Scissors Carletta, both used in a team, is insanely good, especially if you don't have a stripper or you don't control him on time. Rock Julianne, he spotlights, he does big nuke damage. Paper Fran, of course, does the buffs, the damage reduction and the damage output, you know, and plus big nuke. Paper Kerr having both break skills, bleed, and you know, and whatnot. Both Gunters, one shock, one really good for the faction boss, one really good for giants, you know. Maschia, as you can see, I used her in PvE, made it way more reliable, and I think that's it. So that is it. My throat, I'm dying. This is such a long video. So again, thank you very much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed the video. The Oscars of Destiny 6. Okay, so let me know in the comment section below what you think. No comments are going to be deleted, whatever. If you disagree with me, you disagree with me, okay? Everybody has opinions. So again, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you all enjoyed the video. Like I said, yeah, if you do use these nat 5 somewhere, whatever, let me know in the comments. Maybe one I didn't mention or something like that. Just be like, okay, why wasn't this one mentioned? Like I said, there are already a lot on the list. If I added more, it would have been a longer video. I don't like that, okay? Again, thank you all very much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed the video. All right, peace.